All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving deep into the lore of a true mobile horror icon. You probably know him as Mr. Meat, but his story goes way deeper than just a creepy butcher. So, what's his real dark secret? Let's find out. So, yeah, on the surface, he's a butcher, a kidnapper, an absolute monster who stalks the halls of his super creepy house. But what if all of that is just scratching the surface? What's the real, terrifying secret that's actually going on here? So let's properly introduce our subject, Mr. Meat. He's the main villain from the Keplerians horror game series, and while he's definitely known for his gruesome activities, it's that hidden, disturbing past of his that we're really here to unpack today. To really get to the bottom of his secret, we have to start right at the beginning. So let's open our first case file, the first outbreak. We're going to unpack all the horrors of that very first game. The story kicks off with a pretty classic horror setup. First, a young victim gets captured. But here's the thing, this isn't just a random kidnapping. Mr. Meat is right in the middle of some kind of awful experiment. And that's, of course, where you come in. Your whole mission is to sneak into his house of horrors and pull off a rescue. And here's the key thing to remember. The butcher's house held more than just meat. It held a dark secret. See, just saving the victim doesn't actually end the story. In fact, it's barely even the beginning. Which brings us to our next file, the prison break. The story doesn't just pick up where it left off in Mr. Meat 2. Oh no, it escalates. A lot. So after everything that happened in the first game, Mr. Meat finally gets caught. He's sent to prison. Case closed, right? Nope, not even close. His execution goes horribly wrong, and it triggers this insane outbreak inside the prison, turning the whole place into a brand new hunting ground where everyone has to fight just to survive. So we've got these two games, and they tell one continuous, seriously terrifying story about this butcher and his twisted experiments. But here's the kicker. This isn't the whole story. What if everything we've seen is just one piece of a much, much bigger and more sinister puzzle? And this right here is where things get really, really interesting. We're now diving in to the evil nun connection. And we're going to start connecting the dots to a conspiracy that is way bigger than you think. You know, the craziest part is that the biggest clue wasn't buried in some obscure piece of lore. No, it was hidden in plain sight the entire time. A direct link between our monstrous butcher and another legendary Keplerians villain. Okay, just look at how the lore lines up. In the Mr. Meat story, his daughter, Rebecca, is absolutely central to the plot. His experiments use some kind of mysterious substance, and the whole story is driven by a family tragedy. Now, look at Evil Nun. The school's history talks about a little girl, also named Rebecca. Sister Madeline's experiments, they use a chemical that sounds suspiciously similar. And her backstory, it's also all about a pact born from a family tragedy. I mean, come on, coincidence? There is no way. So here's the big takeaway from all this. Mr. Meat and Evil Nun don't just happen to have similar themes or an unlucky shared name. No, they share an entire universe. This is a totally deliberate, interconnected story that's being woven across completely different games. And believe it or not, this connection blows up into something even bigger. We're not just talking about two games anymore. We're talking about a whole universe of horror, the Keplerians' shared universe. Think about it like a giant conspiracy board, right? You've got Mr. Meat, the butcher with his secret experiment over here. Then you've got Evil Nun, the headmistress of that cursed school. And then there's Ice Cream, the super creepy ice cream man who snatches kids. These aren't just separate horror stories. They are all points on a growing map of interconnected horror. And here's why that is so cool. Mr. Meat's real secret isn't just about his daughter or his experiment. It's that each of these games is one piece of a giant puzzle. And it's this incredibly clever way of rewarding the fans who are paying attention, who are looking for the clues. It turns these great standalone horror games into single chapters of one massive, dark, overarching story. Which, of course, brings us to our final and most chilling question. We've connected the butcher to the nun, and the nun to a whole universe of other monsters. But if all of these villains are connected, who or what is pulling all the strings?